All right, well, how about I begin with the official cheers and say welcome to each and every one of you. Doug here with the LincolnList.com, and this is Happy Hour with the Lincoln, where I will do my best to answer all of your stock market related questions, tell tales and rant about stock market topics, and share my 2 decades of trading experience with you guys just to help you become more successful and more profitable. Now, I know many of you are experiencing some serious panic, and there is some serious volatility in this market. If you're struggling with this, you just don't know what to do. You're just confused and finding it difficult to execute. Do me a favor, go ahead and click on this link. It'll direct you to our live trade room. You guys can start trading with us right away. I'll do my best to guide you through this because we had a great week. This is one of the best weeks I've ever had. So there's money to be made in this. You just have to know the right steps. If that's something you're interested in, check it out. Now, I know you saw the title there where I said coronavirus is not a financial problem. Some of you may disagree with that, and I'm going to explain myself here. And maybe you'll agree with when I'm done. But if you don't agree, that's fine. We're all here to just share our thoughts, right? Now, I know I did one a couple of weeks ago, but I see these emails that are coming to me every day, and they're different than the kind of emails I normally get. And when I read them, I literally can just feel the panic and fear in people. Because what we're witnessing here and what we've witnessed over the last couple of weeks is historical. I mean, I myself, after 2 decades, haven't seen anything like this because I'm reading the same stats as you, that this is the fastest correction in the market since like World War II. And I know I'm old, but I wasn't trading in World War II. I'm a bit scruffy too, but hey, I wasn't trading in World War II. So what we're seeing is just unprecedented, right? And it's creating a lot of fear and it's creating a lot of panic. And one thing we've always talked about and how important trader emotions is, fear is the worst one because fear makes people do things they normally wouldn't do. It makes them think irrationally, and panic just creates enormous meltdowns in psychology, and it's just this sort of a domino effect. Now, before I get started with the talk, I do want to make one thing clear. There's one code of creed that I have always lived by, and that is I never, ever share my political beliefs with anybody. You know, what side of the fence I'm on is irrelevant. I'm here to deliver you financial information. If you need political advice or you need political chat, there's other people on YouTube you can follow. I'm not one of them. So what I'm about to say doesn't reflect my political opinions, my beliefs, who I back, who I don't back. I'm just simply making an observation about the world and what is happening and what we're all going through to take this correction and put this in its place so we all can understand possibly what is happening and the best way we can all profit from this, or when we might see something like this come to an end. Now let's first talk about this correction compared to something like 2001 and 2008, which I traded through both of those. Now I call those financials, 2008, 2001, financial problems. So when I go back to 01, this was an era of excess. This was right when online trading came into play. Everybody was doing it. It was the fad at the time. Nobody really knew anything about the market because we were all brand new to trading. And it was just excesses. People getting buyouts all the time on these tech companies, overnight millionaires on papers with stock options and stuff like that. These tech companies just trading enormously high above their PEs. I mean, it was an age of excess like Sodom and Gomorrah, and everybody had to burn. So when that changed, it was a financial impact. So the impact that was felt initially was that people were rich and then they were poor. It just basically sucked, right? Now, how you cure a financial problem is through things that the Fed has used. Lowering interest rates, injecting liquidity in the market. That's their playbook to combat a financial crisis. So we fast forward to 2008. This takes on a different level of fear because back then it was just wealth we were talking about. Just a sting to the ego and a sting to the pocketbook. In '08, it put people in a different kind of position because what it did is they started to kind of get a glimpse that maybe the entire banking system in the world will collapse in front of them, and all of the money that they had saved up and worked for their life is gone. And I can remember pictures of people standing outside of like Fannie Mae not being able to get money. Now that is apocalyptic riot kind of fear, right? But again, that was based on excess. People, but with the banks, doing the mortgage loans and all that, the greed, the excess. And guys, it's human nature. The more excessive we get, the more greedy we get, we will eventually pay for that. We will eventually pay for that. But that was a financial problem. So what happens is the government steps in, bails out the banks, creates the QE, lowers the interest rates. They combat that by making money more available, allowing people and businesses to get back on their feet, because that's a financial problem. Now we come to this coronavirus, and one of the problems that we had with this is when it first came out, there was this period of excess that we were in. And we have gone through things over the last years that were supposed to destroy us. Brexit, right? The herd, I'm not saying it, I'm repeating from the herd. The herd said Brexit was going to take us down, and it didn't. The herd said that the president was going to kill the market, and it didn't. And then you had the nuclear tests in the war with Korea, the nuclear missiles, and that was going to kill us, but it didn't. So the perception, again, this is the perception of the market, I think, is that bad news is good news. It just keeps rolling it right off its back, and the market makes a new all-time high. So it's sort of like the boy who cried wolf scenario where nobody really pays attention anymore. So we're kind of in this greed and this excess, and we just feel that every single problem is going to get just blown away, and it was nothing. So when coronavirus first comes out, it just kind of lightly tickles the market. Nobody is taking it seriously. Regardless of what the scientists said at the beginning, it was just another circumstance where us as people, when I say us as people, I'm not specifically pointing out anyone in particular. I'm just saying us as a herd, as a world, as the way we think, we just ignored it. And once it started, and you know what? Probably would still ignore it if the market was up. But once the market started to recognize the potential threat that we had underestimated it, it became a free-for-all. Now here was step 2 in this equation. First was the mistake by not taking it seriously. That was the first mistake. The second was the denial of what was actually happening. So when this first took place, it was, a hoax or a joke, or it wasn't real, or it's not a big deal. It's the denial of that. Again, I'm not pointing fingers and I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that response right there wasn't what the market wanted to hear. Doesn't matter what I want to hear. I'm talking about the stock market. The stock market did not want to hear that, and it kept selling off. So what the Fed does is they cut rates. They do this payroll tax thing, this injected liquidity, this we're going to save small businesses. But what that was the way you combat a financial problem. That's how you combat a problem like the mortgage crisis. That's how you combat a problem like the tech bust. Coronavirus isn't a financial problem. It is a health problem. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to cause a financial problem, because it will. What we're experiencing right now will absolutely cause financial hardship, because you're telling everyone to stay home. You're telling everyone not to travel. You're barricading people inside of their houses. The economy is going to take a shitter for this. These companies are going to get blistered, especially airlines and travel, right? So again, everybody has their hand in it. The media also has a hand in it, because they're the ones, you got two different sides. You got people that are trying to tell the truth. Then you got a whole handful of media who are ignoring that this is a real threat. And then you got the other side of that, which are just scaring the shit out of people. They're fear-mongering, blowing this thing way out of proportion. That's adding to the panic. And that's kind of what we got in this stage, where that's all we hear, that's all we talk about, that's all that's on the news anymore. And they're focusing constantly on the death thing, and that's causing people to freak out. So when I kind of sum this up, the thing that we're looking at here is what the people wanted to hear first. Was that we, a country, we the people, and guys, I'm rooting for humanity. I'm American. I love America. I'm rooting for humanity. I want us to survive. And I'm just telling you from the viewpoint of traders, investors, and people around the world. They don't want to be rich right now. They want to be alive, right? That's what they want. That's what they want. In the tech thing, yeah, I lost my money, but I'm alive. I've got my family. In the mortgage crisis, I lost all my money, but I'm alive. I've got my family. In the coronavirus, it's like, I might die, right? I might lose my family. That is where panic really takes hold. And that's what we've got. Now, maybe this thing isn't that bad. You know, like I said, you got media doing both sides, underestimating it on one side, overestimating on the other side. We obviously need some sort of a balance. But when you have so many conflicting reports, conflicting studies, you're going to get panic. So we sort of induced a lot of this on us. Now, back to what I was talking about. What needed to happen at first wasn't necessarily rate cuts and injections into the economy. What needed to happen was to stabilize the panic of the people. Explain to them in detail, honestly, what was happening. Commit to putting money into biotechs and fighting this. Continuing to provide testing for people, assuring them that their health is of the utmost importance. Now, saying things like you're just trying to stabilize the stock market isn't what people want to hear. Again, I'm not making political statements. I'm simply saying from a community as a whole, as us as people, that's what we are thinking. The world is thinking survival, not tax cut, because they're going to have a bunch of rich dead people sitting around. So I think that was the mistake first, was partial greed, partial ignorance, and excesses on our part, which happens all the time. Yeah, that caused us to underestimate this at first. Once we realized this could be a problem, there was a period of mishandling that created, I think, backfired, actually created more panic. Allowing news media to sit there and just really pitch this thing as we're all dead. We're all going to be out of here like the movie Contagion. We're going to fall over. And I think what happens is you get to this point where there's, like I said, so many conflicting stories that you ask yourself in the mirror, do you even really know how bad this is or not? Like, are you confused yourself? And if you're saying, yeah, I'm confused too, then now you see what we're all talking about. And confusion and stuff like this and panic is going to cause results where people just sell now and ask questions later. And I think that's what we have seen here in this particular case. Now, I'm not saying we've reached a market bottom. There was a speech today as I'm doing this. It seemed to be a little bit more along the lines of what people wanted to finally hear, albeit late, but it's a start. This is something that people wanted to hear. And I think that's a good thing. You're on the right track here with the words that were said today. Now, whether that lasts into the next week, only time will tell. But when people ask me what do I think about it, when I look back at the other corrections, there were ones that were deeper and stronger than this, but they didn't go straight down this fast. Like, when we were talking about the tech, it was a couple of months, and they just happened to put 9/11 on top of that, which was a terrible situation that just inconvenient timing that just really kind of blew the whole thing into a head, and it was just bad timing with that. In the credit crisis, it took a couple of months. The market first had a hit, kind of rallied right back. And then it would roll over later. We never got that bounce back. We may get that 10, 20% bounce back. I don't know what to expect here. I'm just simply saying from this thing, when I look at it and you want to ask me what I think, why did it go this way? When will there be a bottom? Will the market bounce? I think that's what got us here, first of all. And we're not going to bounce until the herd, the people, the community feel safe again. With people staying home, not wanting to shake hands, not wanting to talk to other people, wanting to walk around wearing gas masks all day. I mean, damn, that's scary, right? That is some scary stuff. And you start thinking of all those movies you watch, and oh God, we're going to be walking around like zombies. It's like, your mind tends to wander. So just kind of in a wrap up, guys, look, not being political here, I'm just trying to make us all some bucks. I think in the beginning, a lot of us had something to do with this here. The greed and excess and the inability to take this thing seriously bit us in the ass. Then in the very beginning, it wasn't handled. And that's on both sides. It was mishandled by the administration at first, definitely mishandled by the media, by saying one half sitting here saying it's no big deal, other half sitting here, we're all going to die next week, nobody being in the middle, giving us any honesty. And you put all these factors together and it funnels everyone into this mass state of confusion. And then they start posting pictures of people standing out lines in Costco, buying up the toilet paper. These are fearful circumstances, and that starts to weigh on people's minds. And again, what does that lead to? That leads to panic. Everybody starts taking out all their money and shoving it under their mattress and starts stocking up on doomsday supplies. And it's like, hold the hell on. hold the hell on. And, panic could actually kill us, I mean, think about how many people are probably going to end up with coronavirus by stuffing themselves into small spaces like Costco with thousands of other shoppers who have coronavirus. Jeez. Anyway, that's my take on today, guys. I don't know when it's going to bounce. I think today was a start. We heard some better things today than we have heard before. Starting to get on the right track here. Will it matter? I don't know. We'll see. As always, thanks for watching this happy hour. Comments, tips, suggestions, quarrels, or curmudgeoning? Put it down in the comments below or send me an email support at the Lincoln List. Until the next happy hour. Cheers.